Hello, boys and girls. Mrs. Sadowski here, and we're going to be starting Unit 5, Week 3 of our benchmark reader, all about our green technology solutions, right? And this week, everything we're going to be doing is going to be based on opinions about green transportation. So your book will look like this. It's the extended read number 2, starting on page 22. You can find it in the online reader. And Mr. Ford has graciously taken screenshots of the pages that you'll need to go with each of the assignments. So that part is really nice. So when you are looking, and I will make this, minimized instead of going full screen on us, make this a little bit bigger for you. So as you are looking, we will see 4 different opinions. So the first one is solar power for a bright future. Okay, I think I know which way they want to go. Then the second one is catch a seat on the bus. Again, based on these titles, I think we can figure out what they're arguing for. Opinion 3, fight pollution and get fit. Okay. And the last one, no single solution can solve a big problem. So what I'm going to do is to model what you're going to be doing. So I'm going to be taking a look at opinion 1 and opinion 2 and doing some work with that, just like we would do in the classroom. And then you, on your own, are going to be using opinion 3 and opinion 4 to complete your assignment. And I'll show you what that looks like. So here we go, opinions about green transportation. It says up here, in Green Transportation Solutions, Brooke Harris presents several solutions to pollution from automobiles. Which solution is best? 4 writers express their opinions and give their reasons. All of the writers support their positions with facts and details from Harris's article. So opinion 1, and I'm going to see if I can zoom in a little bit here. Excuse my reach as I go across. So it says, solar power for a bright future. The best green transportation solution is the use of solar cars that people can afford. Solar-powered vehicles use no fossil fuels. They completely eliminate our need to burn fossil fuels for transportation. Not everyone can rely on buses and subways. Solar cars offer a completely clean solution for drivers. So when I'm looking at this, I'm like, okay, I think clearly they're talking about solar cars being the best. That kind of seems to be a main idea to me right there. And I'm noticing that it seems to be supported by the fact that they use no fossil fuels. That's kind of a big deal. Down here, paragraph 2, as green transportation solution makes clear, hybrid and electric cars are not perfect solutions. Battery-powered plug-in cars require that people charge their cars' batteries. Although battery-powered cars do not burn fossil fuels, power plants that make electricity to charge the car's battery do. Hybrid cars can reduce people's use of fossil fuel, but they don't eliminate it. And cars that run on renewable fuels, such as biodiesel and ethanol, still emit carbon dioxide, or CO2. Solar-powered vehicles emit no carbon dioxide. So it looks to me like if we're tying into this whole idea that, solar power is the best one, and I need to find some facts that go with that, right? Those would be the key details. I'm going to be looking through here, and you might be thinking that there's a few. I would think that a detail would be, you're burning fossil fuels in these ones, right? The burning of fossil fuels is happening if you use these kind. And the fact that hybrid cars reduce people's use of fossil fuel, but they don't eliminate it. They even mention that these other cars still emit carbon dioxide, right? The ones that run on the renewable fuels, such as biodiesel and ethanol. That seems kind of key too. So, lots of things in here would really support this big idea that, going green with solar would be best. If I look over here, paragraph 3, Brooke Harris makes a case for public transportation too. But this is another incomplete solution. Subways and buses in cities like New York City and Arlington, Virginia mean fewer cars on city streets, but they don't meet the needs of everyone. Not only that, but buses and trains still rely on fossil fuel. So I'm noticing that they don't meet the needs of everyone, and buses and trains rely on fossil fuels. So we still are burning those fossil fuels, and public transportation doesn't work for everyone. We live in Camarillo. If we had to rely on buses and subways, we might have a problem. The buses don't run as frequently here as they do in the big cities, and there's no subway nearby. Paragraph 4. The best long-term green solution is the use of solar vehicles. Solar power eliminates the need for fossil fuels. Solar cars provide pollution-free transportation to people who can't rely on public transportation. Sounds to me like it's kind of restating that main idea, right? If we look at this first sentence right here, I'm going to star that because it matches what I had starred on the other page as being an important main idea. They are really going after this whole solar vehicle thing. That eliminating the need for fossil fuels, that ties in to what we had underlined before. And the fact that they are pollution free when you can't do public, that ties into this as well. So if I had to go back, and I suppose I should read the caption too, because that's going to give us information. Solar cars may not be the most practical solution now, but they are the right choice for the future. Yeah, I don't know about you, but if my family had to rely on that solar powered car, I don't think it'd go very well. And that one looks like it's got a little more storage, but I feel like I'd be a little closed in. That one's, looks a little better, but I don't know how long it would run for. Okay, so now that we have taken a look at opinion 1, we are going to see what an assignment might look like. So this, you'll notice over here, says opinion 1. It's important to pay attention to the words on the page. This one says read the first 2 opinions. Your assignment that you're going to be doing is not going to say this. You've got to check over here to see which opinion they have you doing, because yours will say opinion 3 and opinion 4. But this is to give you an idea of what a solid piece of work would look like. So in yours, it would say type here. I am going to just kind of blot through that because I'm writing mine. So if I had to go back through and pull some key ideas, I would probably want to point out that solar powered vehicles use no fossil fuels. Okay. And they actually, that's a direct quote. So I should probably quote that too. Okay. And solar powered was hyphenated. And if I'm really being careful, I would probably put this in a full sentence with correct capitalization at the beginning, punctuation at the end. And again, I quoted it because these are not my words. These are the words from the text. So that was definitely one of the key things. I might want to, if I'm looking over here at the things that I underlined, I think I want to paraphrase this and just say that battery powered plug-in, comma, hybrid, comma, and cars that run on nope, I'm going to change what I was going to say because I just realized it says 2 kind of different things. You'll find that you're going to catch yourself doing that sometimes too. That's why we always tell you to use a pencil. And the beauty of typing is that you can easily cut, paste, all that good stuff. Battery powered plug-in and hybrid cars still burn fossil fuels. That was what I was going for. And because I put it in my own words, I don't need to quote. The other thing that I'm noticing about this one is that cars that use renewable fuels still emit CO2. And I worded that in my own wording, so I'm good with that one too. I wonder if I should put one more in here. Oh, yes. Buses and trains don't work for everyone. That was another thing that I remember reading from paragraph 3. So you'll notice I used bullet points for these because these were my key details. Now, one thing about this box is that it doesn't really give you a separate place to put your main idea. But if I were typing, I'd have no problem fitting this in. So if I look at this and I had this room to type up here, and I'm going to put a star for this one because this is the overall main idea. Opinion 1 is telling us that solar-powered vehicles are best. Okay, that was the overall main idea. That is what opinion 1 was all about. These were some key details that support that main idea. Are these all the details? No. Is it okay that I didn't put in every single word that I thought was key? That's probably okay. But really, when I look at this, the only thing that I think I might have left out for space reasons would be a little bit more about the buses and trains and how they still use fossil fuels too. But other than that, this really does capture what opinion 1 was about. And that's the kind of thing that we want you to be doing when you read opinion 3 and 4. Now, if I go a little bit further with this, opinion 2, catch a seat on the bus. All right, I'm going to guess that we are voting for buses here, right? So let's see. Public transportation is the green solution that makes the most sense today. That right there sounds like a strong opinion statement. I'm going to go with that as the main idea. Solar cars are still experimental. Hybrid and biodiesel cars are very expensive, so most people cannot afford them. On the other hand, public transportation is affordable. It meets the needs of many people. Ooh, look at that. These other things are expensive. Public transportation is affordable. That's going to be a key detail. That really ties in with the fact that public transportation would make sense. A lot of people need to save money, especially right now when a lot of people aren't able to work. Paragraph 6. As Brooke Harris explains in Green Transportation Solutions, today's cars burn fossil fuels. They release harmful carbon dioxide gas. Unfortunately, tomorrow's cars are not yet practical or affordable. A battery-powered plug-in car costs about $40,000. It can go only 160 kilometers or 100 miles before needing a charge. Even if people could afford that price tag, it wouldn't make sense. Where would the cars recharge? As Harris points out, charging stations are not available in many places. Battery-powered cars are tomorrow's solution. They don't help us today. Something key about that. Well, it looks like they are arguing about tomorrow's cars not being practical or affordable because they're talking about the price, and they're also talking about where would they recharge, right? Because we have charging stations are not available in many places. So I think both of those would be considered key. If I switch over here to paragraph 7, the average hybrid car is a little more affordable, about $30,000, but it still burns fossil fuels. If everyone switched to a hybrid car, we would only lower carbon dioxide emissions. We would not eliminate them. Replacing one set of fossil fuel burning cars with another is not a long-term solution. So I see here that they're talking about hybrid, still burning fossil fuels. And I see that they're saying it's not a long-term solution, right? But I think that's because it still burns. It won't eliminate the problem. Paragraph 8. On the other hand, public transportation takes cars off the roads. Harris cites New York City's Green Dividend Report. It states residents save $19 billion per year because they own fewer cars and drive less than average Americans. This shows that public transportation can work. While green subways and buses still emit some carbon dioxide, they more than compensate for this. By eliminating the need for millions of cars on the city's roads, public transportation substantially reduces harmful emissions. Well, something that stands out there is the fact that residents saved $19 billion per year because they own fewer cars and drive less. That's a lot of money. And, money, it matters. The other thing that I see that's really key in here is that by eliminating the need for the cars, they are reducing the emissions. And I think that's pretty important too. And then paragraph 9, solar cars are still experimental, and replacing fossil fuel burning cars with green cars is not yet practical. They are too expensive, and they are only partial solutions to the problem. When people in cities work together for green public transportation, cars come off the roads. The environment wins. I don't see any new key details in there. It sounds more like a summary, right? And it doesn't, it talks about public transportation coming off, making other cars come off the roads, but I don't feel like it fully states the main idea again. So I'm going to stick with this for the main idea. So if I were to work on this, I'm going to go ahead and start with my main idea. And again, I'm going to star it. And that is public transportation is best. Notice, I'm putting this in my own words. Why? Because paraphrasing is okay, especially if you're using a small space to write in. Could I have written this entire sentence out right now and put it in quotes? Yes, and you're able to do that too. But I also know that when you're going back and forth looking at the document and you don't have it right here in front of you, it can be a little tricky. Now I need my key details, and I'm going to use bullet points for these. So as I look through at some of these things I underlined, it looks like these are kind of things that tie into what I said. So I think I'm going to go with hybrid. And what were these other cars? Is it the battery powered? Battery powered cars are expensive. Now I'm putting that in my own words because it comes from this as well as paragraph 7. Both of them, it talks about the battery and the hybrid, and the price is still up there for a starting car. If you had a gas car, you can still get those for like $16,000, $18,000. But for these, if it starts at $30,000, that takes the price way too high for some people. The other thing it mentioned is that charging stations are not available in many places. That's pretty key, right? Because that ties into that whole not practical part. And that is a direct quote. I actually took that from the text. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make sure those quotation marks are there. If I wanted to look and see, what else should I include in this part? I could include from paragraph 7 that the hybrid car still burns the fossil fuels, right? So hybrid cars Burn fossil fuels. That's not a good thing. And if I want to go to the bottom, I'm going to go with my, I'm going to use the direct quote. Residents save was 19 billion, I believe. 19 billion per year. And I'm going to change the rest of it using public transportation. Notice I only used part of the exact sentence there because the exact sentence keeps going because they own fewer cars and drive less. I'm just going to say they save that much using public transportation. Okay, so I feel like, okay, that's fine. Could I have mentioned by eliminating all these cars, we get rid of some emissions? Definitely. I could have included that as one of my key details too. But again, space was limited. I came up with 4 key details. I think as long as you're getting 3 key details, you're going to be fine. If you can get 4 or 5, great. But as long as you have 3 key details to go with your main idea, you're going to be in good shape. And then, of course, there's always one of these questions. And yours will have the little circle. It will be red. You can just drag it over to your answer choice. Which evidence from passage supports the argument that the best green solution for today is public transportation? Was it that public transportation is affordable and meets people's needs? That sounds pretty good. Solar-powered vehicles don't use fossil fuels, so they are better? No, it's not that. Buses and trains rely on fossil fuels? No, because we want best green solution is public, right? Some people cannot rely on public. Not that. So we're going to go with that first one. So I would just drag that little circle over. So now that I've done opinion 1 and 2 for you and modeled what a strong 4th grade level response would be, you're going to be doing, like I said, opinions 3 and opinion 4. So let's take a peek and see what that will look like on the screen for you. So for you, when you go into your assignment, it'll come up and it will look like this, okay? Well, actually, first it will show you my video, and then it will look like this. So you will have your assignment here. You'll notice it says opinion 3, opinion 4, and it tells you here, let me go into present mode because then it'll show even better on the screen. So again, read opinions 3 and 4 in Opinions About Green Transportation to learn about the other opinions on green transportation. Okay, very, very important that you use the right text. A lot of you are not using the right text when you do these, so please make sure you're looking in the right spots. So opinion 3 is going to go up in this box, opinion 4 here. You should start with your main idea and then see if you can put in some bullet points for your key details. If you're not sure what to do, you can always do like a little star at the beginning and like little dashes for your points. It's up to you. Whoops. Down at the bottom, it does have the little red circle that you can then take and drag. If you're in present mode, it's not going to let you drag it. Okay. When you're in present mode, it makes it nice and big, but you have to not be in present mode to drag. Notice Mr. Ford linked opinion 3. Why? Because that's where you need to start when you do this assignment. Okay. So opinion 3 goes there, and then opinion 4, and then voila, there's nothing else in the slide deck. Okay. Once you've completed this part and you've chosen your multiple choice, be sure to turn it in so you get credit. All right, boys and girls, good luck and happy learning. Bye.